Hello boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, this is Defub21. As you can see here, we're on the Twitch page for the Super Smash Bros. For 3DS and for Wii U livestream. New content approaching. So this should be starting up now, and assuming it starts straight on the dot on time in 2 or 3 minutes. I'm going to leave this to record. I'm going to turn off my, I'm trying to say turn off because I have to turn off my mic. My mic doesn't actually have a mute button, rather annoyingly. I have to get an upgrade at some point in the future to get that feature. I'm going to turn off my mic. You might hear a bit of a twangy noise for a bit when I turn it off, and at the end of the video I'll turn it back on and get that bit of noise for a second or two again, and then I'll comment on what we're about to see. Okay, so I'm just going to turn it off now.
Hello, I'm Masahiro Sakurai from Sora. Let's cut right to the chase. In Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and Nintendo 3DS, Roy is returning to the series. Last time, Roy appeared as a fighter in Super Smash Bros. Melee. Unlike Marth, Roy's sword is stronger at its base, so you'll want to keep your opponents close when using him. With enhanced strength, he's significantly more powerful now than he was in Super Smash Bros. Melee. His design received an overhaul too. His original look has been updated to look more in line with the times. In Melee, he didn't have a final smash, but this time he'll deliver a devastating sword blow in a move straight out of Fire Emblem. He'll be made available alongside the revival of Lucas. Roy's back from Super Smash Bros. Melee, and Lucas returns from Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Of the many fighters from past versions, I hope fans are happy to have back these two that were particularly popular. Here's the price information for each. Next, some new Mii Fighter costumes. Get ready for some unexpected titles. As for new Mii Fighter costumes, there's Virtua Fighter. Jackie's costume is a leather jacket based on his most recent design. Akira's harkens back to his blocky design in the original Virtua Fighter. Now the legendary 3D fighting game Virtua Fighter is represented in Super Smash Bros. We hope you like it. And because of series popularity, we're adding in costumes for Mega Man EXE and Zero from Mega Man X, Isabelle from Animal Crossing, and even the Inklings from Splatoon. Let's not forget in-game Splatoon trophies too. Here are the prices for these additional Mii costumes. By the way, while we've released many amiibo already, these amiibo are finally on their way. Mii Fighters. These include the Mii Brawler, Mii Sword Fighter, and Mii Gunner. You can configure any of these amiibo freely, meaning you can dress them up in DLC costumes too. Create a face to your liking and pick a matching costume to expand your use of these amiibo. There are other Super Smash Bros. Series amiibo coming too. First, 3 classic game stars, Rob, Duck Hunt, and Mr. Game & Watch. Then comes Falco. As you can see, Mr. Game & Watch is flat, and he comes with a number of different poses you can swap out. All these amiibo figures will be available this September. Eventually, all 51 fighters from Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and Nintendo 3DS will be released as amiibo. Having all these characters appearing in the same set like this, there's nothing else quite like it. Of course, you can level them up one by one. Mewtwo and Lucas amiibo will be released as well. You can check for more details and release dates on the official amiibo site. And finally, we're releasing more stages. Brings back memories, doesn't it? This is Dreamland. It's a Kirby stage from the original Super Smash Bros. Game on Nintendo 64. We've intentionally replicated the original style, but we did renew certain parts. Of course, this stage also has an Omega form. We've recreated this stage for both the Wii U and Nintendo 3DS versions. The price is listed right here. I don't think we can add too many more stages, but we're planning a couple more from the original Super Smash Bros. Game. Here's a little taste. The Miiverse stage is finally coming to the Wii U version. During matches while connected to the internet, you'll start to see Miiverse posts appear, cheering fighters on in the background. These messages will be fueled by your support. We'll be opening a Miiverse community for each character, so if you post your messages there, they'll show up in the background of players' matches. I'm sure it's exciting to think that your posts will appear in someone else's matches, so please participate. On the bonus CD that was available from Club Nintendo, there are some songs that you may never have actually heard in the game. They're from this Miiverse stage. I hope you like this music too. As for the price, yes, the Miiverse stage is free to enjoy. Now for an announcement regarding tourneys. The new tourneys mode will feature community tourneys where you can compete for the highest points in a certain amount of time, as well as regular tourneys which only happen at certain times, just like real tournaments. We already finished developing both types, but we want to make sure we test out the online features thoroughly, so please wait just a bit longer. We're planning to begin supporting them in August, so stay tuned. There's another new feature in the works. Super Smash Bros. For Wii U will soon allow you to post replay videos on YouTube. Until now, when you applied updates, your old data would usually cease to be compatible with the updated version. But with this new replay posting feature, you can record videos and post them on YouTube. They'll be normal video files, so you can view them from your PC or smartphone too. To use this feature, you'll need a Google account. For details, please check the official site after the service begins. Now for the final announcement. Please take a look.
So this is Smash. Come on! Shoryuken! Hadouken! Hatsumaki Senpuku! Shoryuken! 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 You must defeat my Shoryuken to stand a chance.
Thank you for waiting. Ryu of the Street Fighter series joins the fight. He arrives in Super Smash Bros. Seeking powerful opponents. He's being created to most closely resemble his Street Fighter II form. In that game, there were 6 buttons, but Smash focuses on 2. Yet somehow, he'll have a wide range of moves at his disposal. Even his low attacks have light, medium, and heavy versions. That's because the move you activate depends on whether you tap the button or press and hold the button. You can use completely different moves from light to heavy by holding the button longer. Rapidly tap the button to chain attacks or hold it longer for a strong attack. This is important when using Ryu. You even have a weak side attack or a strong side attack. You can use familiar Street Fighter moves too. Collarbone Breaker is a great shield breaking move, and Jodan Sokuto Geri is a move from Street Fighter III. In general, Ryu is geared toward dealing out combo attacks. Some of these combos appear in Street Fighter games, and there are some new ones too. And of course, his signature move. You can activate a Hadouken with the press of a button. Remember, you can change the speed of the move by altering how long you press and hold it down. For the Hadouken, we've also accommodated Street Fighter's familiar command inputs. If you enter its original command, the move is a bit stronger. Another type of Hadouken, the Shakunetsu Hadouken, can be activated by entering a Yoga Flame command. There's also the Hurricane Kick. It's hugely destructive, and it can be used for movement too. Now, for the invincible finishing move, the Shoryuken. You can activate a Shoryuken with just one button press, but if you enter the original command input, there's a good chance you will KO your opponent. Try making contact at the start of the animation. If you input the command correctly, the character's voice and effects will change, so trust me, you'll know. His down special move is called a focus attack. It lets you take a hit from your opponent and stun them. Keep pressing the button to increase its power. If you hit the opponent, press forward twice to cancel the animation and dash, then attack. And Ryu has 2 final smashes. He's the first fighter in Super Smash Bros. History to have that. If you perform his final smash the normal way, it's a Shinku Hadoken. It'll hit surrounding opponents as well. Pull it off next to an opponent, and you'll have the chance to seal the deal. Longer hit stop frames, different hit sound effects, and more. We developed this fighter to highlight his special characteristics. I hope you enjoy playing as him. We're also releasing the new stage, Suzaku Castle. The right side provides stable footing, while the left side has smaller, separated platforms. That means your strategy needs to adapt to the side you're on. And when you launch your opponent at close range, you can actually destroy the signs. In Omega form, it looks even closer to the original game. The stage will appear on both Wii U and Nintendo 3DS versions. For the background music, you can select the theme from Ryu's stage in the original game. During battle, the music will switch to a different theme when you near the end of the match. That's also new to the Smash series. I should mention, in the Wii U version, Ken's original stage theme is included, and a remix too. There's even a remix of the theme from Ryu's stage. This one was arranged by Street Fighter II's sound composer, Ms. Yoko Shimomura. Plus, the character's illustration was done by the original character designer, Akiman. We've also included a Ryu trophy and a Ken trophy too. You can of course get these in-game trophies just by playing the game. We put a lot of effort into implementing Ryu into these games. Enjoy! Ryu and Suzaku Castle come as a set for the prices you see on screen. Oh, I almost forgot. It's somewhat unrelated, but representing Tekken is Heihachi with a Mii Fighter costume. You can sport his unique hairstyle too. 3 top fighting games have now united in Super Smash Bros. Please enjoy. We've already decided to create amiibo of Roy and Ryu as well. The release timing hasn't been finalized yet, but please check back on the official amiibo site later. Okay, let's review everything. Ryu, Roy, Lucas, Akira, Jackie, Isabelle, Mega Man EXE, Zero, Inkling Boy and Inkling Girl, Squid Hat, Heihachi, Dreamland, the Miiverse stage, Suzaku Castle, Omega Form stages, the bonus trophies, Ryu, Ken, Roy, Lucas, and Splatoon. You can also get these special trophies by completing All-Star mode. All of these will be released today, available in-game or from the Nintendo eShop. The servers may experience quite a bit of traffic. Give it some time and try again if you experience any difficulties. Thanks for watching today's presentation. Be sure to tune in later today for the Nintendo World Championships 2015.
Well, well. Okay, if this works and the recording software is still picking up my mic now, I've turned it back on. Which hopefully it should be. You should be hearing me loud and clear. First, again, to be honest with you, Super Smash Bros. Has never been a Nintendo game that's been, really up there in any way on my kind of list of games I'd want to buy. I think I have the one for Melee for the Wii, although I didn't play it a huge amount. I think I have it somewhere, but it's never been one that's really pushed my buttons, to be perfectly honest with you. The one that kind of comes straight to mind, though, is those 3 new characters are like 15 quid. It's one thing to charge, say, 5 or 6 euros or dollars for maybe 2 characters, but to charge that kind of money for one is kind of pushing it in the extreme. Certainly from my standpoint, anyway. Although there's been a lot of games that come out that there's a ridiculous amount of micro DLC for Company Heroes 2, which is a game I've said in previous videos that I'm quite fond of. But it really is. I mean, I think the Batman season pass for the next Batman game is like 35 euros or dollars, depending what part of the planet you're on, which is kind of from the days of like a 15 to 20 euro or euro/dollar season pass. To me sounds, it's a bit ridiculous. Unless there's some really good for single party content that adds a lot of hours to that game, I couldn't see myself buying it at all. But it's really, they really, then that's from my standpoint. I'm sure there's lots of Nintendo fans who'll put out the money, or maybe they only want one character and they'd be happy to pay 5 for one rather than say 6 or 7 or 8 for all 3. But or even one character for 3 characters for 15 quid is a bit much. The other thing I will say, again, I'm not I wouldn't consider myself a Smash Bros veteran whatsoever, but if my experience in other games really comes to multiplayer with premium content is anything to go by, if you insist on releasing maps or even kind of multiple kind of map packs, what seems to happen, certainly as a case in point, would be certainly a multiplayer game I'm very fond of in terms of its multiplayer is The Last of Us. The multiplayer in that game is excellent. The game overall is excellent. And I bought the season pass for it because I enjoyed the multiplayer so much. And one of the key kind of criticisms I have with that setup, one of the reasons why when I eventually get a PlayStation 4, I'll be going straight for the HD, the HHD, as it were, re-release of Last of Us on PS4, is that the maps that were released for the original PlayStation 3 version, because they were effectively broken down to 3 separate groups, the maps you got with the game is standard, and then two separate packs of DLC of maps you had to pay more money for. It kind of broke up the player base. There were a huge number of players who only ever played the original maps and never put out any money for the additional map packs. So you had the kind of consumer base very kind of heavily broken into three separate groups, and particularly for the second of the 2 map packs and the last release of map packs for the game, the people who tended to have that tended to be very, very hardcore, tended to play it an awful lot, and it made playing matches in the 3rd map pack very, very difficult to survive indeed. But what it comes down to here in the case context of Smash Bros, where they're selling effectively individual levels for all intents and purposes, or individual arenas for all intents and purposes, is I'm sure you're going to have, and didn't know they were doing this previously, they were doing this in a piecemeal manner, is that you're going to have people who own maybe one premium additional paid for arena, and some people who own all of them, and some people who maybe half, or it's how you're going to arrange matchmaking where I would imagine that some people find themselves in a situation where they paid money for a map and they want, or an arena, and they want to play in that arena, but they can't find a game because whenever they go on to look for a game for quick match or whatever, nobody else has got it. And that's, it's, map packs are one thing, but selling what is effectively an individual map in individual arenas in such a kind of piecemeal fashion is kind of, I know the one that comes with Ryu, is you buy with Ryu at the same time, but that really is, pushing it, and it tends to break, certainly in my experience, tends to go by with both Last of Us. Call of Duty would be another one. It tends to break up the player base, particularly when the game's been on the market for, more than a couple of months, and the people who bought it initially who are not particularly kind of hardcore into it, either stop playing or only play it intermittently, and you're left with the true believers, as it were. That kind of thing can really kind of make it difficult to get yourself even a quick match of your favorite multiplayer game. I mean, in the case of what I would personally have preferred in the case of Last of Us, I'm not saying you don't do premium DLC, but they should have put some kind of matchmaking option for people who bought all the map packs, where they could literally just search for games using any of them. So in other words, you don't have to go, oh well, the second map pack, there's no one playing in that, so I'll have to go do a quick search again for a quick match. Someone playing the first map pack, oh, there's no one playing that again, so I have to go and do another, quick match search for the maps that came with the game when it launched originally. Oh, finally a game. It's kind of time wasting, and it can negatively impact, how much enjoyment you get out of again, how much enjoyment you get out of the content. I mean, kind of a prime example of kind of how to do things, probably in terms of buying characters and so on, again, would be to mention Relic, both with the Dawn of War games and with Company of Heroes, where there were standalone expansion packs would come out with their own separate single-player campaigns. You can only play if you bought the expansion packs. But the expansion packs would also usually include usually at least one new playable faction you could play in multiplayer, and additional units for the existing factions. And what they would do effectively is to make sure the player base wasn't broken down into different groups, some who had the original game and nothing else, some who had the original game and maybe some, again, one of the expansion packs and so on, is that they kept the multiplayer pool universal. So any new multiplayer maps that came with these standalone expansions were available to everyone who played the game, whether they had the original, game as it came out first in release, or if they bought one of the standalone expansions. Everyone who owned the original game could play multiplayer against people who only had the standalone expansions. So the people who bought standalone expansions would only have the teams of the faction that came with, say, Chaos or something like, there will say, one would be Imperial Guard as two examples. But they could play against other players who had the original game and had the Space Marines and the Orcs and everything else, and vice versa. And usually if extra units were added in the expansion pack to the existing factions, like the Marines, like the Orcs, like the Eldar, they would be available for free to the people who had the earlier version of the game, or versions of the game. And that guaranteed you a single large player base playing multiplayer. And it worked out very, very well. It works out even, again, Company Heroes 2, originally you're going to play the Russians and as the Wehrmacht, and since then the expansion pack, the Western Front Armies, which consists of Oberkommando West and the Americans, has come out. And if you only that standalone expansion, the Western Armies pack, you could go out and buy that, not own the original game, you'd still be able to play it in a single player campaign, and you could use the American or the Oberkommando West faction in multiplayer, both against other people who had the Western Armies pack, but also against people who only had the original copy of the game. Company Heroes 2 could play with Russian players and against Wehrmacht players, and it worked out, I think, very well. I just, again, Nintendo's been so far behind in anything to do with online, anything digital. It's, they are, making an effort, and, the YouTube thing, I suppose, is nice. But again, considering that, that's been an available function, particularly on the two existing next-gen consoles, or current-gen now, the PS4 and the Xbox One, it's nothing particularly revolutionary. It's just, again, a case of Nintendo trying to catch up. Anyway, I could probably rant and rave about this till the cows come home. It says in here, tune in 2:35 p.m. PT today for Nintendo Treehouse Live E3 pre-show kickoff. Okay, so I might have a look at that. Might record some of that. I don't know what it is. They did Treehouse last year, but it was during E3 itself. So I assume this is just for the as it says there, World Championships 2015. Oh dear. Yeah. I don't. Again, it's not a game that particularly interests me, but they are trying. Although again, the whole different being able to buy individual arenas, I think, is a recipe for trouble. Anyway, this is Defub21. If you enjoyed this video, have a look at some of my others, and if you like those too, please subscribe to my channel. I'll be staying up till what will be 2:30 a.m. British Standard Time BST to watch the record and watch the Bethesda conference, and I'll upload that as soon as I can. So I've stocked up on sweets and caffeinated drinks of one kind or another to keep me going. Wish me luck. Toodaloo.